Those who are familiar with Lamar's music know that Lucy is a reference to Satan, as it is short for Lucifer. In Lamar's music, he candidly admits that Lucifer tempts him often with fame, fortune, and sex, and that he sometimes gives in, even repeatedly cheating on his fiancée. In an interview with Lamar, he acknowledged that Lucy is a nickname for the devil himself, and that he influences his music.
There's also parts in the album where you speak to Lucy, Lucifer.
Yeah. I may do an after party, and this is how I'll be able to write these records, because it's not just the positive energy that speaks to me, it's the negative too, it's the evils too, and we all have temptations. Lucy is one of my favorite records because it's me actually coming to realization of the evils rather than acting like it's not going around.
But it reminded me a little bit of Snoop.
Yeah.
And Murder Was the Case. Where he had that conversation with the devil, with Lucifer, and that temptation was in his face.
This is all quite revealing, as Snoop's song is about Snoop's soul being taken over by Satan, and Satan empowering him to gain great success in the rap world.
I see demons, dear God, I wonder, can you save me?
Bring your lifestyle to me and make it better.
And how long will I live?
Eternal life better forever. Make your life better than you can imagine. Let me be dreaming. Let me take control. Close your eyes, my son.
Eyes closed.
Kendrick Lamar revealed he cheated on his longtime fiancée Whitney Alford in his song Mother, I Sober. Kendrick Lamar also has confessed that he has been used by Satan and given musical ability. On the interlude of For Sale on his album To Pimp a Butterfly, Lucy, short for Lucifer, tempts Kendrick with money and fame.
But I see you and me, Kendrick. Lucy give you no worries. Lucy gon' fill your pockets. Lucy gon' move your mama out of Compton inside the Kendrick mansion like I promised.
In his song For Sale, Lamar confesses the evils of Lucy all around me. And Lucifer declares that he owns or has Lamar's soul and encourages him to sign the contract.
I want you to know that Lucy got you all your life. I watched you, and now you all grown up to sign this contract if that's possible.
Like Lamar's song For Sale, wherein Lamar acquiesces to Lucifer's persuasion to surrender his soul for fame and fortune by rejecting the Christian faith of his childhood. In the song Buried Alive, Lamar again admits to selling his soul for sex, fame, money, and power. Lamar declares, "When I said the music business was all I needed, when I got it, I was greeted by an alien."
When I said the music business was all I needed, when I got it, I was greeted by an alien. Put her in the Palms Hotel, Sin City, devil in a dress, platinum Chanel.
Even though Kendrick Lamar was raised in the Christian faith, he states that he chose to follow Lucifer's temptations for fame and fortune, and that instead of reading Bible verses from God's Word, he declares that he chose to use the music to exploit women for sex.
So instead of a verse being read, I'ma go and get some off the strength of my music.
In this same song, Buried Alive, Kendrick underscores his hypocrisy, stating in the song that I live a double life, and about how he sold his soul for fame and fortune. Lamar recognizes that he ultimately rejected the righteous life he could have lived for God, and chose to follow Satan's path and ultimately buried himself alive. He states at the end of the song, "So dig a shovel full of money, full of power, full of expletive, full of fame, and bury yourself alive. Then I died."
So dig a shovel full of money, full of power, full of fame, and bury yourself alive. Then I died.
Yes, I was deeply, no matter what I blame God for doing, you know. I hated God for what he did. And so, you know, I even had the satanic books, the little warlock materials, you know, every warlock got to have a dagger, cut the little punch stars, whatever, little candles. And I had all that. I was involved in it. So, because something about the other Bible didn't work out. So I can tell you this, we did, folks with 666, some folks were scared of it and left, put it. But me, I meant what I was saying. I definitely meant it. I said, so God, you're gonna play like that, huh? Well, I got you. I'm gonna make black folks comfortable with 666. Like then black folks was like scared of it, you know, they wasn't too much on it. It's basically rock and roll. You know, they said 666, they go, ah. But then they start listening to it and go to church. So they said, asked a lot of y'all worship the devil. They say they Christians, but they are from 666, you know what I'm saying? So my job was out of anger to make black people get comfortable with their name. And I was very intelligent with it because I read a lot about it. I read a lot and I put all that into the music and the energy. You get what I'm saying? Because how you get Satan's name going, you get the kids to liking it. Now today, see, I think we was one of the first people to break it like that. You would think Triple Six would have been a rock and roll band. So I think I was used by Satan, and I think he's a bit just to get black people. We got people comfortable with his name, and we made sure we made songs violent. Very, very violent. We made songs very violent.
Given that many perceive Christian music going down a spiral and I guess less theologically grounded and perhaps other issues, I'd like to know, and given that you specialize in deconstruction, how does that fit into Christian music? What level of concern should we have in terms of the popular culture of all the other things that appear in popular culture? And more so as we as believers, how do we respond in that music is perceived as, I guess, less threatening if they're listening to under the guise of Christian music? How do believers respond to that?
There's a couple of ways to think about this question, and there's one place where a lot of our contemporary Christian music is coming from, but really a lot of our worship music is actually coming from a different place. So if you consider the record labels that are all in Nashville, the contemporary Christian music industry, really that's just a business. It's run like a business. They're owned by, for the most part, by secular companies, and that's who the higher-ups are answering to. So there's not really a theological standard in contemporary Christian music that people have to match up to. It's really just what's going to sell. So where the church goes, the music that's coming from CCM is going to meet the church with what they want. So they're not necessarily writing from a perspective of like, hey, let's give the church these theologically rich songs. They're trying to get on the radio. They're wanting. Now, I'm not saying that all the Christian artists have that mentality. There are some really great people in that industry that are full of integrity and doing a really good job. But what we have to realize too is that a lot of the worship music that we're getting into our churches is coming from, they're not really independent, but they're labels that have been formed by these major churches, many of which are coming out of what Doug's been talking about, which is the New Apostolic Reformation. A lot of them are coming out of Bethel, or they're in unity with Bethel. So a lot of that theology is coming into the worship music that we're actually singing in our churches. And so, Doug may have some comments on that as well, but I would just say, as far as how we approach quote-unquote Christian music, we need to be incredibly discerning and realize that not everybody who's writing quote-unquote Christian music is even a Christian. A pastor texted me that I know who was at a retreat where there was a bunch of songwriters from Nashville that were writing songs to hopefully get placed on CCLI to be sung in churches, and they brought a couple of speakers in, and he texted me and he said, This is absolutely abysmal, the state of this. Most of the people that are here that are writing music for the churches don't even go to church. And so I just think it's important to be very discerning and don't just assume because something has a Christian label on it that it's inherently even Christian.
Yeah, and I think in regards to, deconstruction or anything around that, like, should we be listening to only Christian music? Should we be, I don't love the term secular music, right? But and a lot of really solid Christian artists would say, well, we don't like being called a Christian artist because we're writing songs and we happen to be Christians, but we don't want to just get thrown into this camp, right? So I think it comes down to, as a parent, if you're a parent of a student who wants to check out music, listen, because your student is being theologically formed by these things that they're listening to. And everyone, if we talk about worldview or worldview training, you're getting your worldview by what you're being exposed to, and a lot of lyrics have really, really subtle messages, right? Like, obviously, everyone in this room knows who Taylor Swift is, and so if you're having people listen to Taylor Swift, I've got a lot of friends who have their 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old daughters who idolize Taylor Swift, right? And her latest album that came out yesterday or 2 days ago. I'm not that big of a Swiftie, so I don't remember the exact timing, but it's a super sexually charged album, like if you actually dive into the actual lyrics. So those things are forming our kids and our students. And so as a parent, it's not to necessarily say, no, you can't listen to this, yes, you can listen to this. It's, why do you want to listen to this? And how do we look at these lyrics? And what do these lyrics mean? And should this be something that you are allowing to form you spiritually?
We make music for a purpose. It's not just background music, or it's not just, you know, fluffy, light stuff.
This is not elevator satanic music.
It's ritualistic music. It is music that by even the act of listening to it, you are participating in a satanic ritual.
How does it make you feel?
It's very stirring. It's very emotionally charged. You can't listen to this music and say you don't feel something, because you do. I'm sure you would probably feel either hate or fear or rage or something.
You're pretty good at marketing yourself.
That's the devil's place. Illusion and showmanship.
You mean the devil is alive and well in Madison Avenue?
Of course, advertising
I
is
think
the
you and I
devil's
agree with
trade.
that.
The act of manipulating and using the will and using ritual to create change is, by any definition, satanic. And anyone who does that is, at least an ipso facto, Satanist.
I've been in rooms at the top, which albums are prayed over demonically. Music is prayed over demonically. That goes out to the world, goes out to the radio stations. When you see that stuff and know that stuff, it's frightening. Hollywood is doing a great job of it too. That's what it's there to do, is to make you think it's all nonsense, of course. And if you think it's all nonsense, then the devil's laughing. And it's very real. Ceremonies, everything to give light to the devil, to Satan. It's a satanic music industry. That's majority of what it is.
Do you mean figuratively, or do you mean literally you've been in...
Literally, yes. Dojo Cats to your Beyoncés to... They are so demonic, it's unbelievable. And we can't... It's in front of us. It's something that we kind of go, oh, it's just music. But it really is.
Spiritual warfare at this point.
Satanism is Satanism. All lies will be exposed.
There's the eye, there's the six-pointed star, there's the step pyramid, there's the winged disc, and there's bloody Saturn. Therefore, you look at religions and secret societies and Satanism, they're worshipping Saturn.
Singers, when they sing songs, it's like a mantra. Then you start to hear it in the alpha state, subconscious mind. So you start to become the song, or become what you're saying.
Saturn is where time begins, and this is why they worship this world, the world of time.
These have exchanged money in order for them to portray and manifest negative energy through the music.
Every word they're saying in the song is molding and shaping your mind in some form.
I gotta come and make it real. I have to come and say, no. Everybody's not the same. So that's why when I said that, nobody came out and went, that's not true. I'm on God's side. Like, none of them. A lot of this is human nature.
Do you feel like in Hollywood that there are kind of darker forces that present opportunities to people in trade-off? Do you think that really happens, that kind of stuff?
We're past that. We're past that. There are spiritual things going on in the world, and that there are things that are bigger than just coincidence. What it was that I was attempting to do was impossible. So before I do this interview, there is no Illuminati. It's just a joke. It's just something that crazy people talk about. There's no such thing as our side and God's side, and none of that is even real. There are things that are bigger than just coincidence.
So this is the devil.
Ritual is something that you do over and over and over again a certain way. You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about just following the ritual work. You can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
Your soul to the devil. You can have instant pain tomorrow.
Come and make it real. I have to come and say, no. Everybody's not the same. So that's why when I said that, nobody came out and went, that's not true. I'm on God's side. Like, none of them. Again.
Every time I'm about to release an album, I always lose somebody close to me. My pops, it was James, it was my sister, like, for some strange reason, man, you know what I'm saying? If y'all notice, every time I put out an album, it's like I lose somebody. Like I lost my pops with my first album, I lost hands with my second album.
Then the real Hollywood came.
To all the producers, the musicians, the designers.
Do you believe in God? I don't know what that God is.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone telling me that
If I get this, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy.
And then I did that. Different, huh? You ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out. So then I just like kind of circle back around, which most people do.
I think Justin Bieber is another like big victim in all of this. Hollywood did Bieber so dirty.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn and everyone, telling me they loved me and, just turn their back on me in a second.
Justin Bieber revealing on social media that he has been diagnosed with Ramsay Hunt syndrome.
I have this syndrome called Ramsay Hunt syndrome.
I hate you like I'm young. Yeah, they try to rig the game, but you can't fake influence.
You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about just following the ritual work. You can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
About 40 acres in the mule, this is bigger than the music. About 40 acres in the mule, this is bigger than the music. The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong, probably A minor. I want to perform their favorite song.
Then the real Hollywood came.
You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about just following the ritual work. You can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
He went so far as to announce he was boycotting the Grammys. Please join me in welcoming back The Weeknd.
We have gotten so used to the lie. The truth is uncomfortable.
Hollywood is not really there to entertain you.
To all the producers, the musicians, the designers, who was all out to Hollywood, who was all out to New York, chasing gold statues, literally signing a contract and selling our souls.
Mama was sacrificed. Michael Jordan, his daddy. Bill Cosby, his son. Dr. Dre, his son. Out in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing.
You don't care how people feel about the ritual. It's about just following the ritual work. You can fool yourself into thinking there isn't one, but the evidence will be clear.
Certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them. They're like, wow, these brothers wear a dress. We have gotten so used to the lie. The truth is uncomfortable.
Hollywood is not really there to entertain you.
Money is the root of all evil, as you know.
I sold my soul to the devil.
This is a spiritual warfare at this point. If I ever went anywhere, we'd know why. Truth is gonna be heard. And they can't control it. They can control Jay-Z and Beyonce. You get what I'm saying? They can control Shaq. They can control LeBron James. Out in Hollywood, A lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control, traumatize. They want to monetize and traumatize. And God loved me. You understand? They hit me, Gap, Adidas, all that away. Still Forbes, who hate me, right? We fight not in flesh and blood. This is a spiritual warfare at this point. Asking people to not do business with me. That's how this town has been running for so long. They'll mute you. They'll try to mute you at all costs. They're afraid of us not being afraid anymore.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crappy deal. This it came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
You know, what was going on in my life at 15, and that's how I got introduced to the music industry. Because I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
Well, needless to say, sold my soul.
Sometimes they don't want to, and they're, you know, Gaga, we can't get, you know, the frequency's weird, and, you know, it's sounding a little bit strange, and I'm like, if you don't get this right now, I swear to Lucifer, I'm gonna, you know, I get a little bit mad.
Why is your hand over your eye?
Because I'm a devil worshiper, what are you talking about?
Alright, well, I have tickets to see the devil worshiper.
The whole idea of celebrity and fame has become really convoluted and, you know, kind of bastardized, like whereas fame used to be the byproduct of success, and now it's the ultimate goal. And if your ultimate goal is to be famous, then you're gonna do a lot to get there, like sign your name in blood in a contract with the devil. Like you're gonna end up on a one-way street and it's going nowhere. Like that's just the truth. I've seen so many people like forsake their moral code and their value systems just for a little bit of fame, and it's not worth it at the end of the day. It's really not worth it.
Why do you still do it? Why are you still out here?
Well, it goes back to the destiny thing. I mean, I made a bargain with it, you know, a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end.
What was your bargain?
To get where I am now.
Should I ask who you made the bargain with?
with you know, with the chief commander.
On this earth?
And on this earth, and then in the world we can't see.